September 1st, 1939. Dawn breaks over Europe, and the world changes forever. In the still hours of the morning, the quiet is shattered by the roar of engines, the rumble of armor, and the thunder of artillery. From land, air, and sea, Nazi Germany strikes. The target, Poland. The method, a new kind of warfare the world will come to fear. Blitzkrieg. The seeds of invasion were sown months earlier. Hitler's Reich had already absorbed Austria, then dismantled Czechoslovakia. Poland was next. On August 23rd, Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, including a secret protocol, dividing Poland and Eastern Europe into spheres of influence. The excuse for war, a manufactured border incident, the so-called Gleiwitz incident, staged to make Poland appear the aggressor. But the truth was clear. Germany wanted land, resources, and strategic dominance. Poland, a proud nation reborn only 21 years earlier after World War I, stood in the path. Its leaders hoped for support from Britain and France, but for now, the Polish army faced the storm alone. By late August, the German military had completed its preparations. Over 1.5 million men, nearly 2,800 tanks, more than 2,000 aircraft, all positioned along Poland's borders, ready to strike from the north, west, and south. The German plan was precise and ruthless. Army Group North, commanded by Fedor von Bock, consisted of the Third Army under General von Kuchler, advancing south from East Prussia, and the Fourth Army striking from Pomerania to isolate Polish forces in the corridor. Army Group South under Gerd von Rundstedt included the 8th Army driving toward Woods from Silesia, the 10th Army under Walter von Reichenau spearheading an armored thrust toward Warsaw with the 1st and 4th Panzer divisions, and the 14th Army under General List pushing north from Slovakia toward Krakow and Galicia. The Polish defense was stretched thin. The plan, known as Plan West, placed most of Poland's troops near the borders to defend every inch of territory, forward-deployed armies like Poznan, Pomerania, Krakow, and Lublin. But this meant their forces, with only 280,000 troops, 400 obsolete aircraft, and 600, mostly light tanks, were vulnerable to the fast-moving strikes that were about to come. At 4:45 a.m., without a declaration of war, German battleship Schleswig-Holstein opened fire on the Westerplatte Peninsula in Danzig, Gdansk. At the same time, across hundreds of kilometers, German artillery and aircraft struck Polish positions, the Luftwaffe bombing Wielun, destroying 75% of the town and killing 1,200 civilians in the war's first major aerial terror attack. Luftwaffe bombers, over 1,300 aircraft strong, targeted rail lines, airfields, and communications centers, destroying 70% of Poland's air force on the ground within days and crippling its ability to respond. Within hours, German armored columns began to move, the first wave of the Blitzkrieg. The tactic was simple in theory, devastating in practice. Fast-moving armored spearheads, supported by motorized infantry, would punch deep into enemy lines, bypassing strongpoints. Behind them, infantry divisions would follow to hold captured territory. Above, the Luftwaffe would hammer any resistance and prevent the enemy from regrouping. In the north, Army Group North surged south from East Prussia and Pomerania, cutting toward Warsaw and isolating Polish forces in the corridor. In the west, the 10th Army's 16th Panzer Corps bypassed heavily defended cities, slicing through the Polish front to reach the Vistula River. In the south, the 14th Army advanced rapidly toward Lwów, threatening to trap Polish forces in the southeast. This was not a slow, grinding war of trenches. This was war at lightning speed, designed to encircle entire armies before they could escape. Polish commanders were no strangers to strategy. They launched counterattacks, most famously at the Battle of Mokra on September 1st-2nd, where the Wolinska Cavalry Brigade ambushed advancing German armor, destroying dozens of tanks. At Kryantyi, Polish cavalry charged German infantry, but were outmatched by arriving tanks. But such victories were isolated. The Polish forces lacked modern tanks, adequate air support, and, most crucially, time. German pincer movements closed in. By September 8th, armored units were already on the outskirts of Warsaw, just 1 week into the campaign. Even though, on September 3rd, Britain and France declared war on Germany but provided no military aid to Poland. The largest Polish counteroffensive came at the Battle of the Zura from September 9th to 15th, where armies Poznan under Tadeusz Kudzeba and Pomerania struck at the flank of the German 8th Army. For a moment, they pushed the Germans back, initially succeeding in their assault. But the Luftwaffe turned the tide, relentlessly bombing Polish troops in the open, while the German 10th Army encircled them with Panzer divisions. German infantry and armor regrouped, surrounding the Polish units. Tens of thousands, around 170,000, were captured. The way to Warsaw was now wide open. Then came the final blow. On September 17th, the Soviet Union invaded from the east, fulfilling the secret protocol of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact and citing protection of Ukrainians and Belarusians. The Red Army's Belarusian front under Mikhail Kovalev, 3rd and 11th Armies, advanced toward Vilnius and Białystok, while the Ukrainian front under Semyon Timoshenko, 5th, 6th, and 12th Armies, seized Galicia and Lviv. The Soviet advance, delayed from a planned September 4th to avoid Western backlash, faced minimal resistance as Polish High Command ordered troops not to engage the Soviets. Poland was now attacked from both sides. There would be no relief, no chance to regroup. On September 19th, the German 14th Army and Soviet 6th Army linked near Brest-Litovsk, but a clash occurred near Lviv, where elements of the German 1st Mountain Division and Soviet 24th Light Tank Brigade exchanged fire, resulting in casualties before the Germans withdrew with apologies. A joint German-Soviet victory parade followed at Brest-Litovsk on September 22nd. Warsaw held out under brutal siege by the German 8th Army until September 27th. By October 6th, organized resistance had ended, with the final surrender at Koch by the independent operational group Polisi. In just over a month, Poland was conquered, its territory carved up between Germany and the Soviet Union per the pact. Casualties were staggering. Poland suffered 66,000 dead, 130,000 wounded, and 400,000 captured. Germany lost 14,000 dead and 30,000 wounded, while Soviet losses were minimal, under 1,000 in combat. The world had witnessed the devastating effectiveness of Blitzkrieg, and for Europe, this was only the beginning. The invasion of Poland was not just the start of World War II, it was the unveiling of a new kind of war. Fast, coordinated, and merciless, exposing Polish strategic flaws like forward deployment and reliance on Allied aid that never came. For the people of Poland, it was the start of a long and brutal occupation. Nazis implemented terror and began the Holocaust in the West, while Soviets deported over 320,000 to gulags in the East. For the world, it was the moment when hope gave way to fear, and the countdown to global conflict began. Yet Polish resistance endured through the underground state and home army, the largest WTU underground force, fighting until the last partisan fell in 1963.